Welcome to Community Connections with Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County. I'm just one of your hosts, Sean Boyle, and with me is
Ashley Mock.
And welcome to what is every Sunday at 10 a.m. 104.5 The Flame radio program. But thanks to a wonderful partnership with WLX-TV, the St. Lucie Public Schools, we are also a monthly television show.
That's right. It's a special week.
It is special. So our radio listeners, if you want to know what we look like, with the word of caution, go to WLX-TV, look it up on YouTube, or check your local cable provider for the St. Lucie Public Schools WLX television. But we at the Children's Services Council, in this radio program / TV show, we talk about what resources and or ways for you to get involved to make our community even better for its children and families. But what we do at the Children's Services Council, clearly not TV and or radio show professionals, but what we do very well is 5 things for our community. And those 5 things are: 1, make sure every baby's a healthy baby. 2, stop child abuse before it happens. 3, keep kids off the streets. 4, keep them in school. And 5, keep them off drugs, alcohol, and other risky behaviors by offering programs and resources for all families. And I know I got all 5 because I saw Ashley peek over and make sure I was counting.
I was looking at the list. You brought props today. I was just looking to make sure that
I wasn't even looking at that. I've got it memorized.
I would imagine that most of our listeners have it memorized as well, which is great.
Our viewers.
Everybody, really. We've trained the chamber. No, I'm kidding. Sean talked about those 5 priority areas. There's a couple of different ways that you can learn more about the programs that work in those areas. One of them, of course, is on our website, which is at cscslc.org. There's a list of each one of those categories, along with all the programs that work in those categories. We also have our new family guide. So we keep adding programs, and the family guide keeps getting smaller.
You know, I appreciate that, because our first family guide that we did was like 40 pages.
It was.
And it was like bound, which is fine, except when you're having to carry like 200 of them to an event.
Yes.
It's a little heavy. This is a lot easier.
This is great, and we've actually gotten some really great feedback about this. We've got all of the programs that we are working with right now in here, and this is sort of a working document because we do have programs that change from time to time, or maybe their phone number changes or their location changes, but this is a great resource to have on hand. We've shared it with all of the guidance counselors at the local public schools. We have gotten them to all of the school resource deputies. We have gotten them to just about all of our programs. So we printed, I don't know if you even know this, we printed 5,000 of these in February.
And they're gone.
And I have like 2 stacks left. So I might have 300 or 400 left.
Well, we can reprint them. We have that capability.
We can. There's also a copy of this on our website. But if you have a location, a business, an organization, a church that you would like us to drop some family guides off to, we can certainly do that. Just give us a call at the office at 408-1100. Let us know where you are, and we'll bring some to you.
And if you're watching and listening, you're like, you know, my place of business or my church has a lot of families, we'd be more than happy to drop these by.
Yes.
And if you're new school, so I didn't say old school. This time I said if you're new school and you're like, Sean, nobody uses paper anymore. We actually have an app. If you go to the Apple Store or the Google Play Store, type in Children's Services Council, you will see our free app where all this information is there plus more.
It is, and it's really easy. We've gotten some good stories back from administrators on school campuses who were trying to talk to a teenager about a program that they thought would be useful for them, and they were able to pull it right up on their phone, send their number, super easy. So there's lots of different ways to get access to the programs, but we try to cover all the bases.
And if you're like, you know what, we really love this TV show, we're going to start tuning in every Sunday, but I want to learn more. Spoon feed me more information about our community and the resources. Obviously, you can go to our website, as Ashley just mentioned, www.cscslc.org, because we love our acronyms in the nonprofit world. But also, you can go to Facebook.
Yep, we share a lot of information.
If you look up Children's Services Council, make sure you put in the St. Lucie. There's other Children's Services Councils. Their Facebook pages are okay. Ours is great. We post on there nearly every day, but it's also a great way to interact with families.
Yes. I'm going to say one thing, too. I know the month of April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But I have been on our Facebook page trying to consciously share parenting tips or Monday motivations. So there's a lot of good information there. But the one that we shared this week at the very beginning of this month was really good. And I have to give my mom credit because she's the one who actually found it on a piece of paper that was some resource given to teachers who knows how many years ago. But it was really impactful, and that's why I shared it on our Facebook page. But it says there are 9 minutes in a child's day where you can have the most impact. The first 3 minutes after they wake up, the first 3 minutes that they get home from school, and the 3 minutes before they go to bed. And I thought, as a parent myself, that was like, I really needed to think about that because we have bedtime struggles. So I need to ensure that those last 3 minutes are happy or good or whatever it is. But it's on our Facebook page, and it's really good. We got a lot of conversations started with it this week. So just wanted to put that out there, trying to do that more often so that we get parents talking about things that are important.
That must be a teacher thing, because literally that same weekend before you posted it, my wife sent me a copy of an old newspaper thing that had that onto my Facebook page.
I don't know.
Those teachers are connected, man. They're connected.
They are.
Speaking of connected, well, first of all, you mentioned that April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and blue is the color.
You did a good job.
I actually
did not.
thought that through. I said, you know what, today I'm going to wear blue. Also on our website, and a way for us to stay accountable to you, the listener, the viewer, and the community, we have published our annual report, our annual impact report. We purposely designed it so that you can read it in 5 minutes or less.
Yes.
So we have in there examples of what we accomplished in each category along with a success story. If you have interest, please check it out, especially the success stories.
Yes, the stories actually are really good, and they are all, we always talk when we're out in the community, you know, it might not be a program for you or your family at this particular time, but I guarantee you, you know someone who is having a similar struggle to what is happening in some of these success stories. So it's a really good way to kind of relate to what impact the programs are having on our neighbors.
And again, this information is also available on our website for a quick download, but if you're a loyal listener and viewer and you want a printed copy, we'll deliver them. We'll hand deliver those to you as well.
We can do that too.
So, are you a Game of Thrones fan at all?
I'm not.
Yeah, me neither. But I know the expression, winter is coming. Winter is not coming in Florida. It never comes in Florida. But you know what is coming? Summer is coming.
It is. We know that because we were out at an event this weekend and it was warm.
Yes, yes. I have a nice farmer's tan under this jacket.
Yeah.
But summer is coming. We say that because grandparents, parents, if you don't know what your child is going to be doing in the summer, if you think they're going to stay at home and be productive, they probably are going to do that. I'm not trying to...
Maybe.
But give them something positive to do. Make sure they're in a structured environment. Make sure that they're actually learning or exploring something positive. And we, every year, one of our categories is keeping kids off the streets. That is all of our after-school programs, currently in 16 locations across the county. They all are like transformers. They go from an after-school program to a summer program all day for your kids. But then we also have an additional 12 programs and programs that are ranging from audio and video for teenagers to IRSC with robotics for teenagers. We didn't forget about the young kids. Also, we're at Forest Grove.
I think this year, we probably say this every year, that it's
Floresta.
the best group, but I think this year we've got a really great mix of programs, of interests. We covered all the age groups. I think I'm really excited about the programs for this year.
We've got sports, we've got academics, we've got
music, everything.
Drama, you name it, we've got it for every child of every age, of every interest. Again, all that information is on our website at cscslc.org. Strongly, I can't pound this because it'll pick up on the mic, but I strongly encourage you to check it out if you are a parent or a grandparent and you don't know what your child is doing, because those slots will fill up fast.
Yes.
One of the things that we require if you partner with us is you have to be able to give families discounted prices, because we know that for a lot of families with 1 to 3 to 4 children, summer can be expensive if you have to pay full cost for camp. So we work with all of our providers to make sure that they are working with families to remove any type of financial obstacles.
Yes. So we have a great guest that we're going to get to in a second. I just wanted to mention one more thing that is happening this month during April. So
It's not your birthday anymore. That was March.
Thanks.
It's Jessica from the United Way's birthday.
Me and Jessica. So we have a great partner at St. Lucie Battery and Tire,
Oh, yes.
Lindsay and her team, who have been awesome for all nonprofits really in our community. But for this month of April, St. Lucie Battery and Tire is donating a portion of every oil change that happens in all of their locations to us at the Children's Services Council. We're really excited about it. It's going to go to do a couple different things that we'll share with you later. But big kudos to them for really taking a vested interest in the community. And please, if you need your oil changed, go visit
Look,
them.
folks, if you're driving around and your engine light's been on, that's not a good sign. I promise you, take it to St. Lucie Battery and Tire.
Yeah.
They will hook you up, get your oil changed, and we will get a portion of that to make sure that I'm giving a little bit of away, but part of that, or majority of that's going to go towards getting books in the hands of every child in St. Lucie County.
Yes, it's called Oil Changes for Community Changes. We like it.
That's right. And I'm not going to lie, I think my engine light is on.
So we'll stop by there.
It's time to change. All right, so we have a great guest. Do you want to introduce them?
We do. I'd love to. So I feel like when you and I are out in the community.
I gave their number out twice yesterday.
You did?
Yes.
This might be.
And it was only Monday.
Yeah. This might be the program that we refer people in the community to the most. But
I always say, tell them Sean said I could call.
That's a good way in. But I think Will and Jackie, who are with us today from Supporting Families in Crisis, are probably two of the most hardworking people in our funded programs, because they literally are out there all day, every day, doing hard work.
We have 2/3 of the entire team here.
We do. We have 2/3. So,
The other third said, I'm not
someone
coming.
had to be out there working now, so we couldn't take a break.
No rest.
But Supporting Families in Crisis is a program that's run under Hibiscus Children's Center. And you guys have both been there for quite a while doing this work. So kind of give us an overview of what it is that Supporting Families in Crisis does. Did you draw straws? Oh, Will.
I'll go explain that part. So, what we are is we're a primary child abuse prevention program. So basically, studies show is when a family's in crisis, there's a higher risk for the children to be victims of abuse and neglect. So we go in and work with a family for whatever the crisis may be. Could be my electric's about to be shut off and I'm afraid my food's going to go bad and used up all my food stamps, so I won't be able to get any more food for the month. We're about to be evicted. Unfortunately, it's starting to get better here now, but unemployment's been a big issue. You know, how am I going to get my kid shoes for school, books, and all that. So, and then when the family gets into a crisis like that, there's a higher risk for abuse and neglect, like I was saying. So a family calls us, and we go in and we do case management with them. So we'll address what the initial crisis may be. We could do it through case management. We have some financial assistance. We can help with the utilities or the rent. We do case management. We address whatever the needs are. We're not a particular program, so it's not just, say, parenting or this and that. We go in whatever the family's crisis or needs are, we go in and we address them and try to teach them that when another crisis should arise, they should be able, hopefully, handle it a little bit better or know where to go in the community to receive services.
I think that's one of the things that I like the most about this program is that you guys you probably know the ins and outs of our programs better than we do, because whatever, if the family thinks that their crisis is that their electric's about to get shut off, but you guys go in and identify that maybe it's like way deeper than that.
Oh, absolutely.
You're able to make referrals to local programs who do have the capability to help or to teach them or to advocate for them, so that the goal being that family can be self-sufficient in the future. And I love that you're able to kind of make those connections.
That's what we try to do. And talking about old school, new school, I'm starting to get new school, so I'm kind of pushing the app around and all that. I literally have it on my phone. It's a great resource because instead of, we're talking about the binder book, I remember that Where to Turn To book. It was like a phone book.
That was a phone book, yeah.
And so that app is really easy. It's just, one swipe, and then I'm even encouraging our clients to put it on their phones so they have it. So instead of like calling me at 3 a.m. going, hey, what was that resource for after school again? It's like, oh, go pick up the app and go take a look.
Nice.
You're like, walk with me.
Yeah.
Or on your phone.
Swipe
So
on it.
I want to ask, and I think it's important that our listeners and viewers know, who defines the crisis?
The
Good
family
question.
does.
Right. So I think that's important because when you hear crisis, that could mean 100 things to 100 different people. But the person that's in the crisis, however they define it, whatever they define it as, they can make that call. You're not going to be like, that's not really a crisis.
No,
Don't
no,
call.
not at all. It could be something as simple as I just started a new job and I can't afford daycare, or I don't know where to go for daycare. I mean, so it is whatever the family defines it as the crisis. Our opinion doesn't matter if it's something like, oh, you'll get over it. It's all good. It doesn't work that way. Whatever they need, we work on them with and all that.
Well, I'm in traffic and my phone's locked. Can you help me out?
Okay.
That's your crisis. I'll take care of it.
I'll have to get a hold of my daughter for that one. I don't know technology
Phone
so
a
well.
friend. I like it.
So you have a number that they call, obviously. Can you give out that number and then walk us through? Because I want everybody that's watching, and I know because we're on the education channel, we probably have a lot of teachers and school professionals that are watching, to have this number memorized, because I promise you, this is the number that we give
give
out
it out.
the most often, because as you said, a crisis is defined
Yes.
multiple ways. So what's the number and what's the expectation?
It's-
Like, what information do they need to have when they call?
It's 772-340-5044, and it's extension 422. And we'll do an intake when they initially call. We'll just get their name, what's going on, like their utilities, their rent, whatever. And we get the kids' information. At that time, we do a background check, as long as they have children in the home and they don't currently have an open DCF case. And then we get an advocate out to them as soon as possible.
How was that? Wait. It's simple. I mean,
It's very
really,
simple.
There wasn't a whole lot of information that they needed to have when they called, and I think we have seen the need grow for this program. You guys have grown in this program, and I think it was really because we noticed, you noticed that really more families were starting to call. And we know that kind of ebbs and flows as the economy does. And you mentioned unemployment, that's something that
Yes.
a lot of people in our community were facing. I was curious if there was anything, like outside of that, what are some of the issues that you guys are seeing pretty, regularly?
Utilities in the Fort Pierce area sorry, I'm not endorsing Fort Pierce Utilities, but they have a higher rate and our families are lower income. Poverty is a major issue. I mean, 98% of our families are at the 100% poverty line here. Food insufficiency is becoming even bigger now, and I think people aren't feeling that it's a stigma anymore to say, I don't have enough food for my family. It's really kind of financial right now is the major thing. Parenting is still always a concern and all that, as mental health becomes less and less of a stigma in the community and all that. So those are kind of some of the major concerns, financial, mental health, and
So your mom's a teacher.
She was.
Was retired. My wife's a teacher. They see a lot of stuff. They
Yeah.
interact with kids every day. So I'm curious, the number that you gave out for them to call, does the parent or the primary caregiver in the family have to be the one that makes the call, or can somebody refer a family?
Well, we've kind of, it used to be the family, we required the family to call us and all that because we're asking for identifier information that they may not want to pass out to everybody because we do have to run a background check with the Department of Children and Families. So, but we've started to do referral forms. We've actually started getting some referrals from the school district and all that. So we're starting to go, I'm starting to use technology besides the telephone. We're emailing, texting, doing referral forms that way now as well. So anyway, if somebody was to refer a family, we would contact them and say, hey, so-and-so told us to call, and then do the intake process with them.
Great. And can you give out, you've been on the show before. You've only given out the number once. So don't forget, we're also a radio program too. So what's the number?
It's 772-340-5044, and it's extension 422.
So another thing that's always impressed me about this program is I call. You guys are mostly on the road, right? And I leave a message and say, hey, this is my crisis. What's going on? How fast till I hear back from one of you?
we'll call them back usually that day, you know.
Within 24 hours of,
but
and all that.
we check the phones regularly.
3 advocates, 5 business days, so do the math, we're on the road more than we are in the
always on the road.
office.
Yeah.
I always see them driving around too.
I know.
Yeah.
I said they're busy. It's because we keep making calls and telling people to call
Absolutely.
them, which is great.
So I think, you know, as the Children's Services Council, and obviously we're one of the funders of this program, we have outcomes that we track. And one of the outcomes that always impresses me with all the programs in this category, but particularly yours, is you guys track. So, for example, I work with your family, and I provide services. I get you stabilized, you know, after a month, let's say. You check this family a year after services ended to see if there was a Department of Children and Families referral or investigation or anything like that. And I believe last year you had a 100% success rate or close to it.
We were at 100% last year,
Let me check the annual report.
or it might have been 99%. I think we might have had one, and that's with over, was it 100? Okay.
100.
It might have been the other year. But that's with over 230 families, like 500-600 children and all that. We run a background check while they're open, so we also, measurable objective is also during services and 1 year after, and we're running at about 100% as well with during as well. So
That's awesome. So I know one of the other things we talked about in the annual report that we share is a success story, and I know that you guys have plenty of them because we hear about them all the time. Is there one you can think of that's recent that you could share with us about what you were able to do for a family?
I recently had a single mom with 2 children, 2 small children, and one of her boys had cancer, stage 4, and we were able to do a lot of referrals, and also for programs that aren't in our area for them to be able to do like a family vacation, you know, to kind of give them a rest. And we were able to link them up with a lot. And we also have our thrift store, so we were able to, when we got her into a home, she was homeless, we were able to help with furniture, and we have a small food pantry, so we were able to help with food as well.
Wow.
You will. Do you have a story?
I go back
Not to
to
put you on the spot.
it's one of my favorites. It was a couple of years ago. I think he did the newspaper article
Yeah.
for us. Single dad, just found out that he had a 3-year-old daughter because the biological mother died. So he was just given custody of her, not knowing what to do. And then he was also terminally ill and was trying to get Social Security disability, but was unable to. So it kind of helped him with the Social Security application, got him approved for that. We did some parenting, taught him about, you know, just everyday kind of dad stuff, because his last child, his youngest one before her, is like 35.
Oh, wow.
So it was a whole new learning curve for him. So we worked with him quite some time with parenting, teaching him the resources in the area, you know, simple stuff as housekeeping, cooking, stuff like that. I love that story. It's my favorite one.
And so I think it's important that our listeners and viewers also recognize or understand that obviously you know how to navigate all the nonprofits and all the, you know, the like utilities and food assistance and all that, but you also, and I know this because I've had experience talking with, I believe it was Jackie, you also have like a whole network of churches that you work with as well. It's really, when we say the entire community, it is literally every entity in the community you know how to navigate and kind of cut through the red tape.
Absolutely. It's just teaching them where to go, how to talk to the people and all that, because you have 1,000 people trying all that. Some of the paperwork to do the assistance is just, I mean, it's mind-boggling. I mean, I've gone gray looking at some of the applications that they do. So to a family who has literacy issues, you might as well ask them to read Moby Dick. I mean, it's a tough process. So we guide them through that, and we still have clients to this day that we've closed years ago still call us for advice that we'll go by and see once in a while.
And I think it's important too that our viewers and listeners understand that when they make the call, when a family makes the call, you're not just talking to them on the phone, you're actually going to where they're at, right?
Absolutely. We're a case management program. So we go to their home. We're their guests when we're in there and show them the respect, and we just work out of there. It seems to work better when a family can work in their own home. It's more comfortable for them, and all that. So That's why we're always on the road.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's what we like to hear.
And I think, when we talk about child abuse prevention, and there's, we know from the research in our community, it's really driven by three major factors. Right now, there's a opioid drug epidemic, which is quite honestly where most of the referrals are coming from. And then you have domestic violence and substance abuse, mental health, and then you just have bad parenting. And bad parenting, we've talked about this, is generational, right? Until you interrupt that cycle. So I remember, and I've shared this story on the show before, when before coming to Florida, or before Chicago and then Florida, I was a Department of Children and Families investigator for child abuse. And a lot of the abuse calls that I had, and I remember this one father, the story always sticks with me. He beat his child with an extension cord. That was how he disciplined. But that was how he was disciplined and how his father was disciplined. So it's generational. So, until we break that generational cycle, to give them alternatives, to show them, that father who his other child was 30, parenting has changed a lot in those years.
It sure has.
You've given him the skills so that when that child grows up, they now have a new norm, they have a reset, and you've kind of broken that cycle. So I give big credits to Supporting Families in Crisis. It's probably literally the program number we give out the most, but you see it as a case by case, 200 something families. But I look at it, we look at it as a generational moving forward. You have reset the new norm and probably broken up that generations of child abuse that would have been repeated had you not intervened. So at this point, we enter applause and a big thank you.
Yes, definitely. I agree. And I would just echo what Sean said. I mean, I do think even the feedback that we get from the families that we've referred, everything is happening for a reason, and you guys do a really good job of making sure that those families are on the right path.
Oh, thank you.
So we got a couple minutes left, and you mentioned we have 2/3 of the team here. Who's not here, and why isn't she here?
Well, that would be Stephanie Simons, our other advocate, and you didn't invite her. You just invited me and Jackie. That was the phone call I got.
Oh, Stephanie, we'll get you back here.
But she was on a radio show a couple months ago with us.
That's true. That's true. That's true. All right. So again, you've only given out the number twice. It's a rule. I cannot let anybody go until they give the number out 3 times. So what's the number?
It's 772-340-5044, and it's extension 422.
You
Right.
can leave a message.
Yes,
They will call you
please
back.
I'm going to repeat it because I can see it on the screen. It is 340-5044. Please, 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 if you have children, grandchildren, if you are going to church, if you're at the workplace, and we give out a lot of numbers on this show.
None more
Right?
than that.
Right. If you can memorize 211, simple
Yeah.
one to memorize,
That's a good
and they took it off the screen. What's the number again?
772-340-5044, extension
See?
422.
You could have remembered that one.
I could have remembered it, but Jackie, it's her program. There was a reason behind that.
The experts, I get it.
That's right. All right. So remember, it is Child Abuse Prevention Month. So be sure if you know of any family, or if you or your family yourself is struggling with what you call a crisis, no matter how you define
Your
it.
crisis.
Your child is driving you crazy every bedtime, and you feel like it's a crisis. Call these guys. You can relate, right? All right. And remember, it is Child Abuse Prevention Month. So again, get connected with the resources that are available by tuning in every Sunday on 104.5 The Flame at 10 a.m. or watching the show regularly.
We're here.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we will see you next time. Remember, it's our children, our community, our future. We're all in this together. We'll see you next time.